well, fine. That's fine, I guess. What are we doing here? Okay. There's a mention. Okay. Yeah, that's correct. All right, we're live. Yay! Let me make sure that you guys can see my stuff. Ooh, let me see. Start virtual camera. Devices. OBS. Let me know if you guys can see my screen.
I see lightsabers.
Yes. Okay. Go over here. All right, guys. So, this is December's meeting. Weekly report. Oh, isn't that freaking lovely? Weekly report. Fantastic. All right. Couple of things, just house cleaning items. One thing is I'm going to be bringing back the first prophecy. So I'm going to need a couple of alts that I can start that guild with for the guild neighborhood for the first prophecy, which is going to be an alliance neighborhood. It's going to be in the alliance neighborhood so that you guys have options into how you want to, if you want to do the horde side, you want to do that side, you can. There's a couple of people who probably will want to move there to do that, and that's great. Remember that you can change your owners of your houses without any problem. Hi, Cooper, how are you? Look, I got Saba, and look, I got the prettiest deer ever. Look at that, so pretty. So I want to try to bring only and keep only level 80 characters in this guild. At some point, if they become unused level 80 or max level characters, then they should be moved to the first prophecy, as there is a max of 999 people in any one guild. So we want to make sure we keep that number kind of low, as we're inching on 500. Now, this is number of characters, not players. Okay? So make sure that you keep that in mind. Anybody that wants to be part of the first prophecy on the alliance neighborhood needs to come to me, and we need to reserve that spot. Okay? Couple of things that I need you guys to do is I need you guys to all make sure you are registered into guildsofwow.com/TLP. So you definitely need to get yourselves there. Connect your BattleNet accounts because we are tracking that. Sorry. We have a way that we can look at all kinds of data, which is very helpful to us. Specifically, in the roster section, we can see how many characters every account has in the guild. There's a lot. And so we can kind of see that. I know some of you even have multiple accounts. So lots of stuff there. And that helps us keep everything, good. So just be aware of that. Let me know if you are interested if you have an alliance house that you have out there in public and you just absolutely could not ever see yourself building in the horde side and you want to move, we can do that. Hi Toddles. How are you? The other thing that, so I need everybody to please get on Guilds of WoW, get registered, tie your BNets in your battle.nets to it, please. Very, very, very important. Okay. To kind of move into the actual teams. One thing about vacation tracker, so vacation tracker, guys, if you are, going to be away for a while, you're going to be out of town, you're having big things, like moving into a new house, like fellas, all that good stuff. I really do need you guys to submit a form. That I have this linked in the time off part of the Discord. So in the chats for member chats, in the time off section at the very, very top is the link to the form. Okay, so that you guys can submit your time off. I think we're having some issues filling our raids because a lot of people are having work events or family events or vacations or they're traveling or whatever. And if we don't know that, we're sitting there with our thumbs up our asses waiting for you guys to get on. That's not cool, right? So I really do need you guys to put that in, even if it's specifically around holidays, right? Is most important to do that. So please make sure that you do that as soon as possible, as soon as you know. Because if you are most especially if you are a primary member of a rating team, you need to be able to let us know that. Okay. I've reconnected. I had a little issue with the bot, but I did manage to fix that and get that connected. It does tag the leaders when you do this. The other thing is if you are going to be off, you really should also sign yourself off in the members rating chats category from whichever raid you are part of. You set your attendance. That helps as well. So please do that. All right. So when you guys are, if you are prophets, if you are disciples, when you are setting your attendance, there is going to be a button. It's not for me because I've already this button right here that says set default. When you are setting your attendance, make sure you click that. Okay. And it'll automatically give you the next time that this part comes up, it'll automatically sign you up as signed up, right? And then you opt out if you need to. Okay. It does send me specifically a notification, I think, for us in the leadership circle, officers and raid leaders. You see these attendance things happening here as well. But, we still want to keep it all in one place. That's really the issue. It's just having to go all over the place, right? I think it's better for us to have it in the time off section where it's all pulled into here and we can see it all at once, right? So help us out with that.
Can I add something real quick?
Yes.
I just wanted to say, worst case scenario, you can't, like, something's going wrong, you don't have access, please just DM one of the raid leaders. Just let us know. Like, some people just private message me, they're like, hey, I'm not making it today. I'm like, cool, at least I know.
Well, just everybody should have Discord mobile. And if you are in here, you guys are allowed, okay, to post into your signups and say, at leaders, I can't make it, something came up, et cetera, so that we know and we can make every attempt to fill those roles. So that's definitely true of the heroic prophets raid and the mythic Olympians raid. Not so much the disciples because I opened this up to pugs. So it's a little less for that. Okay. But nonetheless, please make sure you do that. It is extremely important. All right. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is I'm going to be updating. I haven't done it this weekend, so I'm sorry. I'm up to, I think, as Drekka, basically. I'm up to here in the updates of this, but I am going to need all raid leaders to then come in and give their feedback. Make sure raid leaders whether it's primary, secondary, that the sign-up sheets are correct, that you have the right people on the bench, and that you are tracking them as well. Okay. So we want to make sure that that the character names are in here. I tend to put in kind of everything else, and I update it once a week, once every 2 weeks sometimes. I depending on health stuff. But try to keep this proper, okay, raid leaders, and keep that updated. I recently I put, if I'm not gonna say, yeah, I put Drekka in the back and brought up his shaman that he's bringing. Okay, so, and then raid leaders, you make sure that this is correct, and then you make sure that you give me the improvement actions of what you believe to be. Anybody that has a question about these sheets and what they mean, I do have an entire raid methodology on our website around this and what that might mean. So in here you'll see, what these improvement actions are and how we rank the encounter scoring system on here. So how we do this piece is very directly tied into the improvement actions. So if you want to learn how to get better, this is how we have methodically pulled that together. Okay. So raid leads, I need you guys to do that. I have 2 to do. Anybody that wants to apply to a team, so like if you are in either demigods or disciples, which are casual teams, and you raid with them long enough, you learn the fights, you meet the minimums, all that good stuff, you are to apply to that team. So when you come over here, you'll see the application for the other teams, which outsiders, people who are not part of our guild, the only thing that they see is this up here and the Olympians. They don't see any of the others because these are all by invite only to current members. Okay, so that is how we've been doing it. If our raid leaders want us to change that for any reason, that's fine. But you can apply. So like if you meet the minimums for the profits, then you can apply. Here's all the information on it, and you can apply here. So you submit that application. Okay. And then raid leaders, for you, those applications should most definitely be answered and dealt with. Okay. Our recruiters, officers, except for Azelus, we're going to have recruitment officers. They're going to be bringing the people from the outside to apply. Raid leaders should come in here and look at the applications and review them. When you start the conversations, it starts with all of us. If you are not a manager here yet, as a raid leader, you can ask me and I shall make you a manager. But yeah. And anything else to say as far as just housekeeping stuff? No, I think that's it. I will have some very specific topics I want to talk about. One is, I'd like to and you guys are welcome to come off mute, go on push to talk, set up your push to talk or whatever you want. This is kind of an open thing, but we are getting some applications from people who have alts. Okay. So we have, they want to bring their alts to our guild and our raid teams. And they have a main in another guild. I'd like to know if anybody here would have any issues. They can make our times. They can, all that good stuff. Does anybody have any issues with someone like that?
I mean, if they show up and pull their weight, I don't have a problem with it.
I think my thing would just be like, why? Like, why do they want to have an alt on a different guild's raid team?
More rating, gearing. Because, like, for example, we run heroic once a week. If you want to run heroic and get on an alt to get gear or just parse or experience, you got to go pug it. It's just them essentially just trying to find a better place to do it.
Smaller guilds also might only be doing mythic if they've moved on to that. They might not be doing heroic anymore.
Right. Yeah, I mean the
Like,
whys.
to be fair-
there's many. There's many.
But I
whys.
guess that would be my question to them, right? Is like why do you want to join us on your alt, and just see what they say? I guess would just be my only filter.
Okay. I mean, fair.
Well, most of us have already gotten our gear from raid. It's not like 80% of it at this point is going to disenchant.
Well, that is not true for the bottom half, for the casual.
Profits, it definitely is.
Okay, but I'm saying Prophets is not the only one.
Yeah.
It's not
But,
true
like-
for Disciples, and it's not true for Demigods. They're entry level.
But like when I had alts, when I was in a guild, I would alt with my guild, or I would alt run with my guildies as we would do alt runs all together. So for me,
Right.
like to
We don't
want to
do
go
that.
to a different guild and be on their guild and be on a raid team,
Yeah.
that
We-
I never did that.
Right. So we don't have an alt run at all, and there are many guilds that don't. Right. There are many guilds that don't have alt runs. They just don't do that. So for them, if they want to gear up multiple characters, it benefits them to pull their alts into someone else's guild that isn't necessarily their primary. But as long as they can, like Sen Zed, as long as we can make the times and they're consistent and they're pulling their weight and they're meet our minimums and they're constantly improving, I personally do not see a problem with that.
It could also just be that these people are in dead guilds that are testing the water to find new ones.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. Like, depending, they bring an alt in because they're loyal to their raid team, but they're falling apart, or it's the end of the season, they're not doing anything. This could be their way of testing the waters and finding a new main guild. And if they like us, then they can stick around and bring their main in.
Yeah, I don't think there's a problem with it. That's just would be my only thing is wanting to kind of get to know them and in the situation more. Because like you're just saying, all these examples, they could just say that. Be like, well, right now, X, Y, Z. So I think that would be just a good question to ask.
Right. No, absolutely. And there are also situations, okay, where someone, and we had this last season, some of you that have been here for a while might know, we had someone come to us who was very honest. They were like flat out. They're like, listen, my guild's taking a break till the next season, and I just would like to continue raiding. I like to raid. I really don't need any more loot. I'd like to raid. I like to help people, and he was very helpful. He came in, his name was Lethe, and he told us flat out, he may, if his guild comes back, he's going to go back to his guild. There's also some situation in that sense.
That's fair.
Yeah, but there was a situation in that sense. He was of a foreign language speaker, and his guild was all talk the same language, so he felt, of course, more at home there. But him and I still talk. We're still friends. He's here as a former TLPer, and I think that's okay, right? He was tagged under our team, so he was tagged as the last prophecy. So whatever accolades or boss downs that we got with his help, and they were credited, right? Okay. So I don't think that does anybody here have any issues with someone like that?
I don't think so. I think
You're
that's
saying
fair.
specifically, just like they don't speak, they're just like not a native, I guess.
No. I'm just saying that was a hard pull for him to go back to his guild when they came back this season. You know what I mean? So basically transient. coming in for a certain time, but definitely going back to his primary guild.
No, I think it's fine. I think as long as we get to know them, and they're just upfront about who they are and why they're here, I think the more the merrier,
Okay.
I think too, as long as they're not going to take a team spot away from someone who's like a full-time member of the guild, I think that's the only way it could get a little sour. Is it's like, oh, we're going to take this guy. You're going to sit on the bench for tonight. If we need you, we'll call you in. Kind of thing. That kind of feels bad for someone who's devoted their main and all their time to the guild versus someone's like, I'm just here for extra rating.
I think that's definitely a concern to have for something like the Mythic team, but like, for example, Profits right now, we're running 10, 12 man. Like, we definitely need filler until we do get those, like,
permanent
actual players.
Yeah, heard. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not a Mythic Raider, so like obviously different rules apply, but
yeah. Then what you're trying to say is if we have a full team, like we shouldn't be putting someone on the bench because like a transient guy shows up with amazing gear and he parses well.
Well, I'm gonna disagree with you for certain teams. Maybe not right now for Olympians or anything under it, but in a hardcore raid team, that happens a lot. If you are underperforming, you know, a stranger can come in and take your spot. That's just the name of the game.
So is that like underperforming, like you're not meeting the minimums, then yeah, but if...
Oh, it's not even... I mean, you have to meet the minimums to just get into the team. But you
She's
have
talking
to...
like if we did like...
Hardcore rating.
Yeah, our Olympians branched off to the best of the best are pushing world first and stuff, then that would be different.
Correct. If we're pushing to get into top 200, which is Hall of Fame, then the attitude of that team is going to be different. And so if we find someone who is, you know, if you're meeting minimums, you're meeting the minimums to join the team. The minimum through a season, I think Zen, you saw that and you had questions about that if I remember, was the minimum that I set at the beginning of the season continues to go upwards because as the team goes up, right, we want to have everybody at similar level going up with them, right? So we raise the minimum item level, the minimal DPS, the HPS, the this, the that, the survivability, the this, the that, because we're not going to take someone who is at the minimum level that was, you know, 3 months ago. They have now fallen far behind. But that mentality is a hardcore mentality. I would say I would even say semi-hardcore mentality. Right?
Well, and part of the reason that Heroic split off is that they don't want to be progging Demi like we did for an hour and a half.
Right.
That was a little rough.
Right. I mean, you know, that is the truth. I mean, so the concept of bringing in a stranger and putting them ahead of somebody else, don't think that that's an erroneous thing or like terrible thing to do. It's not. It is how we find people that take us through to our goals. Okay.
And I guess that's the purpose of the guild meeting, that everybody understands.
Yes, this is monthly. Package. Correct. This is a monthly guild meeting. I say a couple of housekeeping things, and then I let you guys kind of chime in. I give it off to the primary raid leaders. They will say something about their own teams, and then you know, and then it's an open floor, right? That's always going to happen once a month. So for anybody that's new here with us, that's how it goes. Okay. But I can't have everybody talking all at once either. we got a raid later, or hopefully, I don't know. But yes, so so you guys are okay with those types of situations is basically what I was asking, and I'd like to hear from some of our folks in the Olympian team.
Yeah, I can echo it, right? So as far as, you know, bringing the alts in, it's really my stance on it is really just like what the commitment to the guild is, is really what I want to know. Kind of how I think, like what you were saying. I want to
Yeah.
know why. I want to know if they're looking to just raid on two separate guild teams, right? Like if they're looking for just more raid time, and they are able to commit to our team just like they do the other one. I'm more than okay with it. It's really just about how much time and effort they're going to put in with us. If they're looking to, you know, fill the rest of the season out, I want to know that. I just want to know what they want, what they're looking for, and then if it aligns, then
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the case by case aspect of it makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Right, but I
Well,
also do want to set the
unfortunately.
I also do want to set those expectations for everybody. It's not just because you've been on the bench for a team for a while that you are going to get the next available open spot. That's not how that works. So I want to make sure that people understand that, okay? And they understand all of our goals. We are here to push the entirety of this guild into top 200s, right? That doesn't mean every single raid team is going to be a top 200 raid team. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is our collective efforts are to get a Olympic CE team into that cross that finish line, basically, right? So everything we do, from the demigods, from the mythic plus, from everything we do, is really to help our guild as a whole get to top 200. Get back into top 200. You know,
I think ultimately the main worry, like historically speaking, is just if the alt comes from a player who has progged higher than we currently are, I don't see them sticking around very long. And there's also, like Koff brought up, the commitment and loyalty aspect of
right. Yeah.
of like if they are getting frustrated because we're not progging as fast as they did, or they have to reprog, and then also their loyalty lies in another guild more than ours. Like we just have this super fickle member who could just at literally any moment
Right.
just call it quits and be like, I'm done. And then
It's true.
I mean, assuming we continue
Right.
to have bench problems, then it's like the question of do we have someone to replace them? Because they could. I mean, we've had it in the past before where people leave
Yeah, Lethe.
like an hour before raid begins.
that.
Like we've had that before, and then we're just shit out of luck for that day, unless we pull people in
profits.
who may not
A
necessarily
live
be.
example I had with this before. So I was on a a server first race back in Cataclysm. I
Server
forgot
first was
where I
fun.
was. Yeah, it was a fun race, but we were down to like the last week, the last I think 3 bosses on heroic, and we sat I think 3 of our DPS and picked up 3 guys because we just wanted to win the race. And they came on, we cleared it. We still didn't get first place. We got in second place. And then they immediately left the guild as soon as we just downed the bosses. Is that kind of what we're talking about, that type of situation?
I have
Where
never.
race
Okay,
like
that. So let me address that because I've been in that situation, not only for server first, for several things, but yes, that does happen. I have seen guilds that bring in specific people, sit out their lowest performer, tag those people under their guild just to win that server first, whatever that might be, right? And then those people leave, and then you've got 2 members that were sat that are upset.
Well,
Right?
our
That's what you're talking
team
about.
wasn't upset because they knew that was the expectation. Like, hey, we're
Yeah.
racing for first. If you get sat,
Yeah.
don't get
So
mad.
it is a very common practice to ensure you get that top 200. That is a common practice. I have never, in this guild that I've ran for 20 years, I have never resorted to doing that. Okay? That doesn't mean that there may not be a situation where that presents itself and we have to do that. All right? So I'll leave that door open, and I'll leave it up to the raid leaders, okay, to come to me and say, this is what we want to do. All right? But yes, that is a very common practice still to this day.
Okay. Yeah. No, I don't mind it. I
No,
know.
I mean,
if
it's understood.
We're just all on board
Yeah,
with
just don't be upset about it, right? So if that happens, don't be upset about it, because it's also just a very top end tier of gaming that's certainly not going to happen for Prophet's team, or you know what I mean, like, or the Disciples or the Demigods or whatever, right? Like it's really only for Titans and anything else, right? So that I just want to make sure everybody has those expectations set. I'm very big on communication. I'm very big on saying, here guys, this is what, we might have done something before. We're changing this rule. We're doing this way. We're going that way. I want to make sure I communicate that. That is the purpose of the monthly meetings. Okay. So they're on our YouTube channel, so you can look at them and review them, because I think it's pretty important. But other than that, I would like to hear from I'm gonna pick on Skull. I'm gonna pick on Skullshine. What are you doing right now, Skull? He's in the bathroom, taking a massive dump. That's what he's doing.
Hop that on YouTube.
I was actually working on my keybinds, so I was just actually trying to change my pause to talk. Yeah, I'm coming in a bad time. I mean, I think that if people are going to commit to the raid, that's my only thing, is if they commit to the raid, then I think they're a good fit. I mean, it sucks if one of our our mythic team that's trying to actually push for something, if one of our core members has to get sat. But at the same time, it's for the good of the 20 man, not the 1 man.
Right.
That's my opinion on the thing. It sucks for everybody involved, and we can still try to do re-clears and stuff. But if one person's holding us back from progging, and we find the right fit, and they're willing to commit to whatever our goals are, I think it's fine.
Okay.
I think there's also a level of, with that level of play, that it cuts both ways. So I don't know if people can really be upset if someone's not happy with the guild's progress, if they go other ways that are lining up with them, because it's open communication both ways, that if you're not meeting it, you'll get sat. If the guild's not meeting your expectations, they may leave, and there shouldn't be bad blood about that.
Right. And the only thing, again, about that is I do appreciate someone having kind of an exit message with me and being like, hey, this is not for me, and if they can be open, I'm an open and honest person. If they can be open and honest and tell me, what I might need to do to change things and make things better for others, fantastic. I'm always open to ideas. I think even Skull, you've been here for long enough to know that I am open, quite open about ideas and suggestions and things of that nature. And I don't always agree with everybody that brings me ideas. It's not every single idea or suggestion or whatever gets put into place, but I hear you guys out. That's very, very important to me.
We had a serious conversation about rejection and being overly harsh over a video game.
Right. So I really need to be able to kind of communicate some of these things out, get your ideas on it, get your suggestions, get your feedback, because that's important. True Death, what do you think about the whole alt situations in its many different forms?
Just like how they said, as long as they're committed and show they're going to put an effort on that account, I'd say it's fine.
Okay. Even if it's transient?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah, okay. All right, cool. Okay, so we're all kind of on the same page. Some of my long standings. Oprah.
What's going on?
What is your feedback about alts and like taking applications for alts?
For like Mythic or just in
Yes.
general?
And yes, for Mythic. Yes.
Whatever is decided by our illustrious leaders.
Oh, for never. he's like, you know, whatever's decided. I'm here for a long time, not a good time.
I'm fucking barely good enough to be on the team, so.
Aw, not true, but somewhat true. But I still love you. You know that. All right. Any officers or raid leaders? What do you have to say?
I mean, we're just going to go over their applications on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
we'll figure it out when we get there.
Okay. Cool. Because we're starting to get some of the applications, if you haven't noticed. So
I mean, I would assume the bare minimum for a lot of people as like they're at least not just like raid logging our guild. Like, if they're raid logging
Yeah.
our team, that's already not a great sign, at least in my opinion.
right, but I mean, to be fair, right, that is what's going to happen. Because
I know.
if their mains are in another guild that they're raiding with on different days or whatever, they're not going to be on our guild, right? So we have to just be mindful that that's a possibility. All right. The other thing that I need to address is raid lockouts. So, heroics and normals don't have raid lockouts. They have boss lockouts. So they don't kind of, tread in this area. I would like to address mythic teams, okay, in their raid lockouts. So there is it should have gone without being said, but if you can raid mythic level, if you could raid at the mythic level, the expectation we have, if you are truly committed to our guild, is that, you would express interest in that, and you would, either come on the bench officially, and the people that come on the bench officially for our mythic teams, eventually, the expectation of you guys is to not lock yourselves, no raid lockouts from anywhere else until Thursday or Friday, when Thursday after the raid ends and you're not needed, then you are free to pug after that. That I didn't think I would have to say that, but that is something that I'm going to expect from the mythic teams because of the raid lockout system. Okay.
Will there be a mythic team option that's not the super cutthroat one for people who would
The Olympians
rather do something that's more like
the Olympians will stay as they are now.
Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause-
I think he's asking about Titans.
No, I was asking more because for me, I used to do more cutthroat stuff like that, but that's not really my vibe anymore. So I wouldn't really be interested in doing mythic raiding in a thing where even if I come in and put in all the hours, I'm just gonna get sat if someone in higher whatever comes along.
Right. That's just the name of the game. Right.
Yeah, but
So-
I'm just saying
so-
if I communicate that, can I raid somewhere else for specifically mythic?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Are you
So,
saying if you're on a heroic team and you want to raid somewhere else, Mythic?
Yeah, or just if you're tipping your toes in the mythic, you are mythic ready, because that's what Danny just said, is you're able to do it, but you don't want to be on that team. You have another option, essentially.
can you?
As far as I'm aware, at least before, the Prophets was a team that would achieve AOTC fairly quickly and then would dip their toes in some of the first few mythic bosses.
No,
I don't know if that's
Negative.
still the goal.
no, we have never been
No?
able to do
Okay.
that. No, no.
That's what we did last season. That's what happened last season.
No.
The prophets
God.
killed the first 3 bosses on Mythic.
Ask God. No, that was.
No, we like went in for the first boss once, and I was kind of like, oh, cool.
I mean, Vexy was a fucking pushover.
Yeah, we didn't do anything beyond that.
Right. Nope.
Well, I guess would it be something to consider though?
I think it's
Prophets does. Obviously, they need 20 man. So obviously, they had a standard 20 man. And they were like, "Well, fuck, we cleared it, and we still have 6 weeks left in the season. Let's just go into Mythic instead of just smashing our face against bosses just to disenchant the loot."
Well, the idea is that we full clear heroic in one day, and then use that second day to start progging Mythic.
If you have it, but that's Prophets. This is a heroic AOTC team that is going to hopefully get to 20 people at some point, and then be 20 primary roster people, and then be able to walk into the Mythic raids to do that, right? That's the goal for Prophets. Prophets would still be considered a heroic AOTC team.
Yeah, I think that's what Ursign was just saying. Yeah, I was just like...
Yeah. So then you would be able to do that where, you know, your performance isn't... there's never going to be a... Okay, so I'm just going to say the thing you're not supposed to say. There's never going to be a moment in time where your spot in any team is guaranteed. Guaranteed? No. So even in Prophets, maybe in the casual teams, I will say, maybe in the casual teams, but even in Prophets is semi-hardcore. I would say they're mid-core. So even in Prophets, if your performance lags behind the minimums, you will get sat. And or replaced. We will demote you back to you. You would have the option to go back to Disciples and Radiant Disciples and get better. Right? Or, you know, in that case, you know, whatever you choose at that point. But there's never a time where anyone's position in a team is 100% guaranteed. I sat myself out, right? Because I barely meet minimums as it is, right? So
it's more going to matter when we fully fill the teams, though.
Yeah. But I just want to make sure everybody understands that that's the thing, you know.
Wait, Danny, can I ask real quick?
Yes.
So, are you saying, let's say, so we have the current Olympians roster right now, the 20 plus whatever's on bench currently, and then let's say in the guild, there was a bunch of people who have, let's say, currently done a few mythic bosses, or A or B can mythic raid, have mythic raided. They just, because of time constraint, or they just don't care anymore, whatever, they just aren't doing it now. So you're saying for the future, are you wanting them to hold out lockouts no matter what, even if they're not even on Olympians whatsoever, not bench, not anything? Or like if I want to go pug because I find a random Wednesday that I can go do a quick 2 out of 8 pug next in midnight, are you saying I should hold my lockout even though I have nothing to do with Olympians? Or I can pug it just to get a quick vault? I'm confused about that.
So, yeah, no, understood. So, in the past, I'm going to tell you how strict we were about it and how much different it is now. In the past, we would not allow that. 100%. Everybody in the guild. If you could fill a spot that is missing in any of our mythic teams, and we had 4, you were not allowed to lock yourself to another raid lockout. Okay? I'm not as strict as that, as I once was with that. But I'm going to probably defer that to Koff. Because he might find that something that is problematic.
I mean, good luck enforcing that, though.
It's. I think the it's more of a discretionary thing, like using good judgment for a situation like this, right? If you're saying that, you're not committing to a team and just, one Wednesday you want to go do whatever, like, yeah, sure, fine. That makes sense, right? Like, but if you're saying that you can now raid and you're doing it consistently, every Wednesday or, every whatever day, like say it's Tuesday, Thursday, right? Like say you're just consistently raiding on the Olympian team schedule every Tuesday, Thursday, but you're pugging it. They would bring up the question as to
why are you doing that? Yeah.
Like why, and it would be something that would be talked about. It's a discretion thing. Like it's not an enforcement of trying to tell people how to play or what to do. Right. It's more of a figuring out why. If you're capable of doing the raid and you're doing it anyway, why wouldn't you do it with the guild that you're in, right? So that would be what I.
Okay, so with that discretion
about other people wanting to join their alts into our guild, it's the same conversation they're having with their own guild, right? So just keep that in mind.
But for me now, it's more like you guys raid Tuesday, Thursday. Let's say for whatever reason, a few weeks into the season, some of us can raid, but it has to be like a Wednesday, Friday, or like a Saturday, Sunday, whatever, like other days, not Tuesday, Thursday. I understand that Tuesday, Thursday, that'd be weird of why you're raiding on the same days consistently. But let's say it's because of your own schedule, you cannot raid Tuesday, Thursdays, or even during the weekend you have to raid Saturday, Sundays. But obviously we are holding lockouts until then. So at least I guess if you're called upon,
so like if you
team. Like I'm confused.
Right. So I'm gonna make that. I'm gonna see. This is where I was saying, Cough. We need a delineation for that because there's many questions around that, right? So before it used to be no. If you were a capable person in a capable body, you were not allowed to have a lockout, a mythic level lockout, okay? Because we might need you. And so we would ask every member, and it's an ask, to hold their lockouts until the end of Thursdays. We had teams all over the place. So we would say Fridays back then. But in this one, it's Tuesday and Thursdays for mythics. So that we would say till the end of Thursday, you hold your lockout. Now I'm going to say, if you are on the bench for the mythic team and your intent is to bench for that team, you should hold your lockout. 100%. Okay? If you're not officially on the bench for that team and you want to raid consistently with someone else because the times are better or whatever, the days are better, the times are better, it could be either one of those two things. I just would appreciate you let us know. Right?
Okay.
That makes sense, right? So that I'm not in the raid trying to fill the Olympians roster and then I'm looking in the guild and someone's in the fucking raid and they're raiding, mythic. And I'm like, dude, like what the fuck? Right? So it's just courtesy now.
Yeah.
Where before it was very much that was a hard stop for Ocnarian and I. So,
I think Cough's onto something though with like it. If it is just a one-off, and it's on Tuesday, Thursday, it's fine. But if it's constant, then it has to be like for a real reason, like schedule, or time or whatever. Like it has to be. That's fine.
Because the last thing I want to do
I personally
is
think
catch.
That's okay.
The last thing I want to do is catch someone doing mythic raid when we're down by 2 people in our own team. At the same raid, day, same time.
But okay, so with that though, let's be honest. If I see come a month into Prague or whatever, the new season, and I see that Olympians have a solid 20, they have a solid 5 to 10 man bench, and randomly you guys needed 2 people, and you asked me, but I already had plans to raid maybe Wednesday.
Oh, that
or whatever,
one, yeah, that
day.
one time, yeah.
I feel like that, even if it's consistently, that's not on the player who never signed up for Olympians, because they did see that there was a 5 to 10 man bench.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
And they did see.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. We maybe just to correct those guidelines a little more straight open.
I'm just saying for the bench for the bench that is part of that team. The Olympians bench or the Titans bench, which 9 out of 10 times is going to be the Olympians roster, okay, when we get there, okay, for the bench of Prophets. Well, Prophets is different just because, again, Heroic and Normals don't have lockouts like that. They have boss lockouts, not raid lockouts. So it's a little different. But for those bench people who are intending to bench for those teams and be available for those teams, they should not lock themselves out.
Gotcha.
So instead of being as hardcore as I was back in the day, where we wouldn't allow anyone to do that, because we might need you in any, we were dealing with 25 mans and we were dealing with, raid lockouts of every kind, right? So this whole boss lockout thing is quite new. Look at all these people here. I love it. But yeah, so that's something that I guess if you're not in there and we're seeing you raid and mythic raiding, it's just nice if you would let us know, hey, I'm going to join up with this team or that team or whatever. If it's not a pug and it's more like a guild run, somebody else's guild run, right? Like at one time you came to me, or we asked you, I think it was, we asked you, hey, are you available to raid? And you were like, oh no, I'm locked out, but I'll be available next week. But then you weren't available next week. That was a problem.
Well, you guys also had your healers, and that's all I raid for.
Okay.
So, that's the thing. That's what I'm trying to say. If I see a bench and I see that they show up on Tuesday, I do think, and I'm not on the bench. I have nothing to do with Olympians or anybody else here.
You're not on the bench.
Might want to step their toes into Mythic, and maybe it takes a month, so they haven't even thought about it until a month into the new season at midnight. I personally think yes, it would be nice that all of us should tell you, hey, heads up, I'm going to consistently
be in this
raid with this other team because I see you guys have a fat bench, and so I don't want to be number 8th spot or whatever.
Especially healers, right?
Yeah, you just don't need all that. So what?
Yeah.
I think it should just be
if
a
you're
heads
the
up
bench.
thing.
If you're in the bench.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
If you're in the bench for that team. So going forward, that's what I'm going to set the expectation about. If you are on the bench for that team, that goes across the way. If you're on the bench for a team, any team that has the potential, that could be for Prophets too, right? Because Prophets eventually will get them to 20. They'll go and step into Mythic. Okay? So any raid that has a raid-wide lockout, right? Or has the potential to be in a raid-wide lockout, that bench needs to not do anything with Mythic until the last day of that raid. Does that make sense? Just to draw the line in the sand. Because
I think the bench part is clear.
Yeah.
Now, though, it seemed like that was heading towards just anybody and everybody that has Mythic capabilities or has in the past Mythic rated, that they should at least be wary or mindful of hey, there might it looks a little weird or bad blood if you do go Mythic raid without giving a heads up. But it's also if you guys have a 5 to 10 man bench on Olympians, I'm gonna be honest, it shouldn't be on everybody else to give you a heads up because it's on the bench if they don't show up.
But the problem here is that we don't have a static bench. Our bench rotates. So because our bench has rotated, right? And cough.
Yeah, I think so. I think in principle, right? Yes, you're correct. If we had 20 people, a core roster that was always there, and a static 10-person bench or 8-person bench or whatever it is that was readily available every Tuesday, Thursday, you're right. It wouldn't be a conversation, right? But the team right now doesn't have that. So I think that's why the topic is being brought up right now. It's more just, again, using discretion, being mindful of the guild, what the guild needs are. Again, everyone's on
Yeah.
Everyone in here is trying to reach the same goal that Danny was talking about, right? So
Correct.
how we do that is all just looking out and
Yeah.
being on the same page.
Yeah.
So I think that's the main takeaway here. Obviously, if it was a little bit more streamlined and we had the staticness that you're hypothetically talking about here, then yeah, it wouldn't be the process would
haven't had
basically
that,
flow
right?
and work out. It would flow itself out, right?
Yeah.
But we don't have that yet, and we're working towards it. So just right now, I guess the message is just be mindful.
Right. And like I said, for the bench, for those teams, we don't have a static bench, meaning those bench people can come and go, freely. They're not always available on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Back in the day, our bench had the same rules as the primary. Right? So they had to be there on Tuesday and Thursday waiting for an invite at 7:45. You see? You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that.
That's ideally what we would want to.
Yes,
Again,
absolutely.
Another thing that would kind of solve this, what you're talking about, so is
correct.
When those rules are enforced, when we have that process set up, that we have 5 people that are waiting for an invite that are on the bench. Okay, then the other people that aren't even on the bench, they don't really need to worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just hypothetically obviously we're thinking about midnight itself for all these changes for the most part. So that's why I was like, okay, I would hope at midnight, every team has their bench that they can rely on.
Right.
So if you guys did have that 5 to 10,
it's been
if
incredibly
those rules still continue.
Right. So it's been incredibly the rule would probably still continue, right? But it's been incredibly difficult to find PST folks for me, and I haven't had the help to do that, until a few folks came in and were helping me really well, and it burns people out. Honestly, being an officer in a guild like this burns people out. Okay, so it's hard to keep the recruitment incoming. The other thing I wanted to address was, we may have a group of real life friends. Well, not real life friends, but they were all friends, and they're really good friends. And there's about 7 or 8 of them that may be joining into our guild. Okay, some of them have some mythic capabilities. Some of them don't, not yet. So it is very possible that that can get dispersed amongst the teams, but it's also highly likely that we would try to create, because some of them are East Coast or Central Coast. So it's very possible that we may end up creating a heroic team that's on friendlier times for the East Coast. And that would be 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Pacific, which is 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern. And they would start doing the heroic, and we would be having a bi-coastal guild for raiding. Okay? So that's a possibility that might come in. And it's only a few, there's 7 or 8 of them, so it's not a whole lot to go on yet. But they haven't really done much in the Mythic, but their aspiration is to eventually become a Mythic light team. Similar to Prophets in that sense, just on the East Coast friendly time. Okay? So that actually might come in. With that, there might be some officers that come in as well, because they have some officer, they want to be officers. I've had to force people to be officers. They want to be officers, and they have the experience to do that. So it's possible that we get a couple of officers out of that as well. The other thing...
Sus.
Sounds what?
I said, honestly, sounds sus.
Sus?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're...
Hey, new people, give me a leadership position.
Just in, not so much as that, but just in the past, when I've been a member of guilds and you have several people come in to click, there can, number one, be personality conflicts, number one. But number two, you've just put a huge part of your core is now dependent on a group of friends that could leave, which is super problematic.
And all the time I've played this game, I have never seen a guild merger work. Ever. Not once.
Never. Yep.
Also,
Well, I mean,
nepotism.
it's more of like a.
It's a
I agree
team,
with you guys.
basically.
I want to say that I want to preface this with I agree with you guys, but calling it a guild merger when it's 7 people is
that's a
is
stretch.
generous.
That's a reach.
And we've
That's
had our
basically a
fair
mythic
share.
costume.
Like you, ultimately, when you have a group of friends who want to join the guild, right? Like it's I would feel like it's impossible to avoid that, right? Like every guild is going to have like.
Yeah. They
That
became
those
they,
4 or 5 people who are a package deal, all
Right.
or nothing, and you run the risk of having all of them leave in unison.
Yeah, but
by
that
inviting
happens
them.
with that also happens, Nyletha. I mean, these people became good friends when they all joined a previous
I'm
guild,
aware.
right? A previous guild that they were in, not even this one. They became friends that way. Just like a lot of you guys in here have become friends here, right? And so the risk of losing multiple people is an ever present thing even right now, right? So
My point was with what Kaiden and Azalis were saying is like having them come along, yes. Giving them positions of leadership seems like
It's a little
jump.
rushed.
I agree. I just want to echo that.
Yeah. No, well, the problem I have is that there isn't any of you that are willing to step into that. I mean,
that's fair.
Yeah.
My
So-
biggest issue with it,
Just sign me up, coach.
my biggest issue with it personally is that you're bringing in this friend group that has, it's not like friend groups that were formed here where people have ties to other people, not just in their group. You're bringing in a group with no connections here and giving them a leadership position off rip that is going to end up in favoritism.
And what if 2 of them aren't good
Yeah.
enough?
Wait. Real
What
quick.
if the other group, 2 of them aren't good enough and you have to cut
Wait. On that though, real quick, I agree with the leadership thing, but they're not randos. A lot of us have actually played with that friend group.
Absolutely.
Oh no,
It's
I played
timeless
with that friend
friends,
group.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're-
I'm just saying, but in theory, you bring in 7 people, and what happens if like 3 of them aren't good enough?
So I just you said, Danny, you made a comment there about nobody else will wanting to lead. What are you talking about? You're talking about the East Coast raid team?
Well, that's a thing that I've been talking about with GAD, because for GAD, those time zones work better.
Okay, so profits. So the guild writ
profits.
large
Yeah.
has a desire to run an East Coast raid team. Okay, and so these guys
That's gonna
can
fuck me if
actually-
I do that.
Well,
What?
hold on. So, but you're
Hold on a
saying
second.
that these
What was
guys
that,
could
Sid?
potentially run that East Coast team.
Right. So
They would start their own team.
Yes, so we would help them make a
As far
team.
as it was presented,
Yes.
the team exists because one of them cannot raid on anything other than East Coast time.
No,
So-
and on anything
I-
other than 6 to 8 Pacific.
Yeah,
I
if we're
think
talking
maybe
about
that a future
entirely-
goal is good, but like we barely have enough people to run profits right now. I don't
Yeah,
know
and
how
what
we can
happens
make
if you
another
have some
profit
people
team.
on profits that are like, well, actually, East Coast time works better for me. I'd rather be on that team.
That's already a thing that has been thought about.
we've
like
thought about
the Olympians
They're
and
They're
the
scraping
prophets.
together.
Yeah.
The Olympians and the prophets already have a few people who
Yeah. I
who
even
either
said that.
it would
I
make
said we
sense for
have-
them to jump ship or who have already stated that they would jump ship if
That
they
was an
were
available thing.
given access to a raid team with that time.
Mhm.
And if either team loses even so much as 2 people, like it's gonna be rough.
Understood. So here's the situation with that. If today one of you is in, let's just say, the Olympians, and if today your job laid you off and you could only find another job that runs in different times, are you trying to tell me that we should just let those folks go, or let them adjust to other time zones or other teams that are raiding on those time zones? I'm giving you an
I
excuse.
don't
I'm
think that the idea of
Just
an
saying
Eastern
it's not
raid is
attainable
bad.
for us right now. It's
I'm
not.
just-
It's not bad, but it's not
It will
something we
solve
can
some
manage
problems,
at
but
this
it will
moment.
create new problems. Like it will.
Well,
will do
everything creates new problems. We had a whole problem creating 2 different heroic teams, right? In the first place.
I think
I also thought like part of the goal of the multiple heroic teams was to create a clear stepping stone of progression. Like go from one to the
Correct.
next. You're good enough, you end up in mythic. But if we have different time things that doesn't work because it's like, well, I'd like to do Mythic, but I can't make your time, so I got to go find a guild that does Mythic at my time.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's
And I mean,
wrong.
we've lost
Every
people
guild
to that
faces.
problem already.
Yeah,
Yes,
like
we
that, that's
have.
every guild. That's all you need. I just want to clarify. I think it's fine either way, especially if it's going to be a different team, a new team. Even them having a position of leadership in the guild. I mean, I think that's still fine if it's just spawning a new team. But I think Zen's point is accurate. You know, spreading the guild, you know, writ large, jack of all trades. I'm trying to do all things. Can the guild do that? You know, are they going to run recruitment all on their own and do it all on their own? If so, I mean,
there's
okay,
two recruitment. There's two officers that are coming in. One is going to help me with guild management. The other one's going to help me with recruitment, and they'll help me with recruitment across the board.
I mean,
did they state a reason they don't want to just start their own guild and they want to bring their officers into this guild?
Well, one of the things. Well, I'll let you know. I'll let you know because I get this all the time. They want guild structure. They want someone that has the GM title that isn't them.
They just want to plug into a framework.
Yes, they want. That happens all the time. I've had both successful mergers and failures be tied to those reasons, right? So I've gone through the gamut of this. Okay.
Is that what you want, Danny? Do you want that? Do you want to be running?
I prefer to be GM and run and have all the systems in place and give you guys the tools that you need in order to get whatever goals you want out of your game time. That is my directive, prime directive. Okay?
Because it seems like they're basically going to be their own guild in our guild, is what
Not necessarily.
Like.
Not necessarily. That is not true. I think that here's what I think is going to happen, and maybe maybe it's a stretch, but here's what I think is going to happen. I'm going to be honest. What I think is going to happen is that the people that sorry. Zigua. Okay. Yes. Skilla.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I mean, there's definitely dangers if they're going to run our guild inside our guild, that whole thing.
No,
I mean,
they
can't be any of that, right? They have to be members of our guild.
Right.
Flat, full stop. They can't be like, oh, we're running our own events, bullshit like that. Like, no, that can't be happening. I think that's gonna have problems.
My issue is not that we're having these new people or that an EST time zone is a bad idea. My issue is that we can't afford that right now. I have to beg Olympians every week just to scrape together 12 people for profits. If even one of them jumps ships to the new time zone, we're cooked.
But how is that any different if they just leave the guild entirely for another guild that reads East Coast?
Exactly.
But that's the nuance of it, is you have someone who's like, it sucks because you have people who are putting up with it. I guess I don't know what you'd want to call it, putting up with it, tolerating the raid time that they don't really prefer to raid. So they haven't left the guild. They continue to raid. They just raid our raid time. Right. You give them
an easy out.
You give them the Eastern time, and then they jump ship. Like that's the concern. I agree with Zen. Like you have people who are already willing, technically willing to raid on our time because they are right now. If they couldn't, then they wouldn't.
Yeah,
we wouldn't have.
So there's one person and so back to what I was saying. And I really don't think we have the people for tonight's raid, Cuff.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Okay. Because I still have to, do the whole roles thing and all that kind of stuff. This is a good discussion. I think it's valuable.
I think
just for my, there's a lot of guilds already that are East Coast time. The reason why I joined this guild specifically because it is a West Coast guild, and I think there's something unique about positioning yourself that way.
Agreed.
Yeah, it wouldn't change me at all. I just want to say, I think it's. I mean, yeah, I think it's totally fine.
I think
ironically, Danny, I think if you phrase this as we're starting a new East Coast team and we've recruited some people to start that team, that would have been a totally fine conversation.
Right.
I think
But I also don't want to.
We're bringing in a group, and some of it.
Right. I understand, Kaiden. I really do understand that. But here's the thing: I don't like to keep things unnecessarily from everybody.
I get it.
Right?
Yeah, no.
So
I get it.
So yeah. So
I think it's
and I think you know me by now, Kaiden, well enough to know that I rarely keep things unless it's like private information or something like that. I rarely keep.
No. I wasn't saying keep information. I'm saying just phrasing in the way that it was framed.
Yeah, but they're friends. They are friends.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Wait, can I say something to Kaiden's thought right there? So real quick, just so everybody knows, these are Tiny's friend who's already in this guild. The reason those guys want to come here is because they play with us, because we go to their guild's Discord to run keys sometimes late at night, and a lot of us have played with them. They got the vibes that they're like, actually, we like you people. We want to come there. Instead of trying to recruit us, which they could have easily done at like 2 a.m.
I also, when I met Tiny and them, I met them after their old guild had fallen apart and they needed a place to go. And I presented them with our guild. And I think our raid times caused them to try and make their own. So originally they were going to join us anyway.
I think
that was like the idea.
There's cases too where I'm a total degenerate and I just want to play till like 3 a.m. and maybe I could make one of their raids on Saturdays or some shit. Anyways, and vice versa for them. So I think it's totally fine. Just more options in the game.
Right. The reason why I say about the officership thing is because, guys, I think a lot of you know I have cystic fibrosis. I am 51 years old. I'm getting older with this illness. It's taxing. And in order to continue to build TLP into back to where it once was and even further from that point, I need help in officers, in people that can recruit. To Sen's point, she is right, because we don't have anybody really bringing in new people to help her and Gad fill the profits. You understand? If we had people bringing, focused on that and bringing people in, I don't think it would be a problem for Sen. She'd have her 20 probably by now.
Isn't it supposed to be?
I think more the issue with that is that all the new people we're recruiting are mythic level. We're not getting mid-tier people.
No, they're not mythic level. Ask Nyletha. Ask Saba. They're not myth. They've not killed a mythic boss. Not one. You are further ahead than they are. Zen.
I should hope so. I'm on the bench.
I trust them. I think the only concern was the level of trust that people who have not met them are going to have to give them if they're put in officer positions. Like, that makes complete sense. I understand why people
at least give them like a week for people to meet them first.
I can give them a transition period. Zen. That's perfectly viable.
Yeah, transitional period.
I think that's more reasonable, is to say, hey, they're looking to be an officer. Let's get to know them first. Right. And then if nobody has issues after a week, then we can go ahead.
Yeah, I know. I think that's pretty that's reasonable. But I also need the help.
Yeah.
Well,
you need to start bothering your officers to do their jobs.
Nyletha, Azelis. Azelis is Well, hold on a second. Hold on. I'm going to stick up for Azelis because I also I booted him from the Discord server on accident earlier. I'm going to stand up for Azelis and try to win back some points. Azelis is not recruitment. Azelis is community manager.
That is true.
Yes,
Azelis he was very explicitly not recruitment.
Exactly. He says I don't have the social aptitude for that. And he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to do that. So Azelis,
and I mean, I've been helping with recruitment. When I see someone lost in the Discord, I talk them through it.
I also do look at the apps and talk about the people.
Yeah. Oh, looking at the apps, that's everybody. Everybody should be able to do that. That's not a thing. But I'm just saying, going actively out there and recruiting, that's a whole different skill set. Looking at applications coming in that I have gone out and done the macros in the game, done the tells in the game, done the replies to forums on Reddit and all that kind of stuff. That's a different story.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a raid leader. I'm just filling in space. Like you can ask Todd or Jack here. I've got both of them in here.
Yeah, she grabbed me right away. I think that too, just a comment, because I made a point that, like, hey, we're really looking for Mythic people. Obviously, I have no intention of joining Mythic, maybe at midnight if I feel up to it. But, like, most of the guilds I always join are AOTC. That's just what I do. I'm a father, I'm a career, lame stuff. And I think it would be a lot easier to fill Zen's team, right? Because then you're prophets, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be a lot easier to fill that team if that was something we were actively looking for. Like, I know, like, because Zen explained to me, like, hey, the teams are funnels for Mythic. That's what we're doing here. That's the goal, is that everyone that is just slowly climbing to that level. But if we're not recruiting specifically for that, and our main goal is Mythic, those AOTC teams are going to suffer the entire time, because we're never going to fill it in if the funnel isn't pulling through.
It's true.
And with that said, with the funnel pulling through, it seems strange to me that Prophets ever has issues fully, like being full. If we have disciples like running with like 17 people, shouldn't we like pretty much always be sending over like our top 8 if they're at 12 or something along those lines?
I mean,
well, we can run with a smaller team because we have better numbers overall, and we're like very.
They only need a minimum of
mechanics.
10 people.
That's the point.
Yeah, they only need 10 people
that
to
bare
full
minimum
player.
is a challenge right now.
You only
Ultimately,
need 10
it's at the discretion of the
raid leaders. Right, but also
that's why I'll pop into Disciples and I'll go, hey, you guys got this role I can borrow.
Yeah, but also, right? The situation also is that Disciples is a casual team, and Prophets is a mid-core team. Okay, so that there's different objectives and goals between those two teams. So I can't just easily throw Disciples at them, because they're trying to get AO2C within the first couple of months of release, right?
Well, our Disciples are also still learning. We need people. We don't need to take.
I mean, you can tap level in midnight. That's months away. But for now, I don't see any problem with that.
Right.
I think that's what should be done now.
Right. So my thing is, if you are in Disciples and you get to the point where you're meeting minimums and you've got your item level, you've got some logs in, you've killed these bosses a bit, you've improved your mechanics, your survivability is on the uptick, all these things, there's no reason why you should not be applying to the Prophets. You should be applying to Prophets.
Okay, but I mean, some people aren't going to take that initiative. So, are any of the officers is it appropriate for Prophets to look at?
I have actually. I've reached out to some people, and I've been like, "Hey, are you ready to move forward?" And like, I asked Ursa9, for example. Perfect. I was like, "Hey, if you can move ahead, we're actually pretty happy to have you on the team." He's like, "No, I'm actually more comfortable with Disciples right now because this is also where my friends are at, but we'll move up later." Right. Okay. Like I actually go and reach out to people.
Here's the thing. I don't necessarily like that.
The question
well,
I have
it's
is
not
if it's only
you
item
have
level,
to.
That's
no. I understand that, but I also don't want the Mythic teams when we get there to do that either. That should not, like, you're basically poaching from other teams, like you would from other,
I mean, they basically farm teams for the higher team, and most.
I was going to say it comes down to the guild's progression as a whole, whether people feel like they're involved or not. The whole, like, I think many guilds run in that the whole guild is ran so that the highest team can succeed the most, right? So at the discretion of the raid leads, if they go and they poach players from the lower teams to go into the higher teams, and those players agree, that's the point.
It shouldn't.
The idea is that
it's just a conversation between
right, but it's also just that should be something that's offered up from the raid leader.
I'm not forcefully moving people. I'm saying,
no.
Hey,
that's not what I'm saying.
You have met the requirements.
No. Hold on. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it should be the initiative of the raid leader of the lower team to offer up their people. If I'm gonna say Like, if you can't put in an app for a team you want to join in, come on, guys. What are we doing here?
I think, though, with a lot of personalities, they are looking for that invite, though. Like, you've got people with imposter syndrome. They're like, I don't know if I'm good enough. I really want to, but I don't know if I'm good enough.
Right.
1000%. I did not even try to get on Olympians until you came to me one day and said you needed a person. Like, I didn't even try.
And I don't see a reason it can't be both, where it's expected that they're
right, but I also don't feel right, but I also don't feel like raid leaders should be poaching in other raid leader teams.
It's Janet. I think it's just a conversation. Just both the raid leaders. Like,
yes.
if Zen looks at the roster and she's
because
like,
I didn't know that was happening.
Poaching.
Right.
I think she just has a conversation with the raid leader of that team. Say,
right.
Hey, I really think this person could work on our team. Is it okay if I go talk to them? Because like tanks are a good example, right? I'm a tank in Profits. If the Olympian team wants to come and like, hey, why don't you go to Profits? Well, that really fucks. You know what I mean? Profits.
Right, but the difference is that's not poaching, right? That's a communication between the leadership trying to figure out personnel, right? That's HR stuff. That's not like one of us
I'm
asking.
not saying it shouldn't happen. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that it should be a courtesy between the raid leaders and being like, hey, exactly. I have someone here that I think is capable of moving up, you know. And then when they say, okay, I do have a spot for them here or whatever, like then that conversation happens. What I don't
What happens if Cop wants to bring someone up?
It's the same thing.
The same thing.
And Zen doesn't want to lose that person because it would kill their DPS, and they need that person. So Zen's like, no, you can't have that person.
But it's up to the person. It doesn't. The courtesy is the courtesy is between the raid leaders. That's just courtesy, right? But if the person says, yes, I want to try that, Zen's not going to be able to say, no, I'm keeping you here. That's not happening.
Danny's not saying it shouldn't happen. She's just saying she wants, like, the other raid leader should get the heads up before the conversation happens.
But you made it sound like the leader of that raid has to decide that a player should go to the next raid.
No, that's not what I said.
That's kind of what it sounded like to me as well.
But I think the point that she's trying to make is that she just wants a head. Like, people in
it
the
should be
leader like the heads up.
Like
before.
What I'm saying is somebody messaging people and then not telling us about it as raid leaders. That shouldn't happen.
Shouldn't be done in the back room. It needs to be done out in the open. That's
and in Zen's defense, I think that we didn't establish that when the raids
totally
were broken apart.
Well, like I also messaged in the leaders chat. I was like, hey, I'm going to talk to these people.
I just don't consider it poaching if the whole idea of us creating disciples was to funnel them into Profits once they were good enough. I feel like it's just the natural flow of how it was supposed to be.
Yeah, we're all one deal, right?
It's not supposed to, right? It's not supposed to be a surprise, though. That's kind of the point, right? It's not like
bring something up. Like, I don't know if this is happening already, but are the different raid leaders getting together and maybe like once a month kind of thing too, and saying, hey, you know, like who?
Yeah, we were
wants to
talking
move up and all
about
that
maybe
fun
planning
stuff.
that.
I think that
Yeah, I
would
could see it.
like squash this whole thing.
I could see it being a surprise if, like, oh, we're taking this person from you tonight and they're not going to be at your raid right now. Like, that's a thing. But just mentioning, like, hey, you should look into maybe, like, trying to go for our raid possibly if you want to.
Like,
I don't feel like that's bad.
I keep everyone updated. Like, I even let them know when we had a disciple show up in the wrong place. I was like, hey, we actually kind of need the numbers. We're going to hold on to them unless you need them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we were talking about a raid leader meeting before Solarius stepped down, so.
Yeah, we were talking about it, and then we never planned it properly.
Right. So
that was a little mobster. Like, you guys might be needing a new tank soon. Probably need to start looking at tanks.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with the expectation, though, just being like, hey, guys, everybody, if you think that you are... And that's what I was telling people when they would come to me and ask. I'm like, if you think that you're meeting these requirements that are very clearly listed in our Discord, apply. And then they will reach out to you and tell you, like, if you're not... And I don't see an issue with, like, if we see someone exceptional that's just, like, has imposter syndrome, like was said, and just doesn't want to, like, just mentioning it to them, like, hey, I see you're doing great. Like, why don't you look into, like, moving up?
If you're interested in moving up but you don't think you're ready yet, you can also reach out to us and ask us to check your logs and tell you what specifically you need to improve on.
Yeah,
that is something we can do.
Or, get our shit together and get our spreadsheets correct. They'd be able to know without necessarily having to ask anybody, right?
Yeah, but
Well, they can do
it's
the same
helpful to have
thing.
human feedback too.
Yeah, but they can do the
understood.
same thing by looking at the guild info in our Discord too.
Yeah.
Like they're published and they're there and everyone can see them. So you but if you feel like for me, I was never trying to do Mythic, but until I was kind of asked to because I needed help, same like Azalith was saying, and so I don't feel like it's necessarily a bad thing.
I mean, Nyletta was the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say I don't know if it's not like it's not a competition. Like I don't think that the raid teams are necessarily competing against each other. And I agree that it should never be like, yo, by the way, we're taking this guy 30 minutes before a raid. But I mean, ultimately, right? If Koff went to one of the Prophet raid leaders and was like, I want this person in my raid, like that, I would almost say that it's up to that person,
Correct.
No? The person that they're talking about. Like if the Prophet they're talking about,
short on people right now.
I know, but like if the person you're talking about in the Prophets was like, hell yeah, I want to be a Mythic raider, then I mean, who are we to stop them?
Yeah, who are we? Yeah.
Like, right? Like they just show up to the Olympians next time. Like no one can really do anything about that.
The notice between raid leaders should happen. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is kind of getting really into the weeds of scenarios that haven't happened yet. I think that obviously we don't want surprises to rosters for raid teams. It kind of creates chaos, especially for teams that aren't opening it up to pugs. So I think just the solution is just having communication between the raid leaders, and then that should really solve all of this.
Yeah, that's basically what I said. Yeah.
Yeah. That being said, it is 8. So I'm going to jump down to the Olympian.
Do we have enough?
I mean, we got 13 people are funneling in right now, so see if we get it off the ground.
I just wanted to add, we just have to have some grace with the communication too, because there are 1,000 different places that there are a lot of chats in our Discord with reason, because there's a lot of different reasons to have different ones, but sometimes people would be not tagging me and talking to me, and I wouldn't see it because there's 20 different channels. So sometimes I feel like we just need to have some grace if people are trying to communicate and maybe we didn't see it or stuff like that.
And this communication has also been good because I was confused on what Disciples was. I thought we were basically an active bench for Prophets, so that's I was just confused on that, and so having clarification is helpful
that as well,
too.
to be honest.
It kind of feels that way because we have to go through Disciples, it seems, at least till we're 7-10. But a lot of the things and this is coming from a guy who's only been here for 3 weeks, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of support for the mid-tier. For example, if keys are being ran, it's always +10s, and if you don't have the right item level that person's looking for, they just ignore you. There's no one really running mid keys to help these guys that are either in Disciples or trying to get to Prophets really get the item level, because a lot of it, when it comes to minimum DPS, it's item level based. The skill's there, but they just don't have the stats. There's just not a lot of keys being ran. And
I'm going to push back on that.
Yeah, I'm going to push back on that too.
Because I have a couple times this past week, gearing up some ults, and I've thrown it in the Mythic chat, asking for low keys.
Same. You all know my triple threat journey. We were all running low keys. We're still running low keys for my Warlock 2 days ago or whatever. I think it's just the times.
Right, but I think it's also
there's not as many.
It's not as many. Okay, so it's not as many, and it's also once again, it's being in this Discord. Now, I also have something to say about that. I noticed that a lot. I do have a thing with people being in this Discord. If you're going to group together, be in this Discord because other people might need to join you. But on the flip side of that, okay, if people are running keys and you see there's 5 people in there, don't just automatically jump in there and start chatting it up. The yappers, okay, I sometimes am one, I am going to say, okay, the yappers, okay, you go in there and someone's trying to do an 18, that's not cool. So what happens is then those people that are trying to do that 18 are going elsewhere. They're either going to the private discourse or private chats, and then we start to see people oh, there's no one in the Discord. I get that all the time. I'm the one that gets those messages, though.
But even if you don't see anybody in the Discord, if you want to run something, just
tag it.
Post it in there. People get the alerts.
Yeah, I've done
They may be in game and just not in a chat channel at the time.
Yeah, and we're all adults with different schedules, so like different ones. Like I know me personally, I'm not on until raid, and then I'm on for hours after. And there's a whole group. They had 2 Mythic Plus groups running for hours last night in our Discord. It's just the times that people are going to be on. Like maybe we don't have too many people that are running when you are, but.
Yep, but I mean, the thing is I have provided all the tools for everybody to get A, into Mythic Plus, B, into mentorship from someone else who's is part of the Olympians. So if I'm making if I'm making a death knight, I'm gonna go at death knight, and someone, probably Skull, is gonna message me back and be like, yeah, I'll help you out. Like we
Hopefully
have the
Skull.
tools. Yes, we have the tools in Discord that help us with that. As a matter of fact, I will have to go because I have to get you guys your stuff. But so anybody that's part of the Olympians raid, please drop down. But that is all we have for today. If you guys have any feedback, you are welcome to send me messages. Send any of the leaders messages, and we can discuss that further.
I would love to send you messages if you would accept my friend request. I'm dying.
Okay, but also, Kaiden, I need to talk to you.
Okay.
All right.
I know people have to go, but if there's any officers who aren't going, is it possible to set up a channel with like a person limit? Because I would hate to lose people dropping in on M+, because that's how I've met a lot of the people I'm doing keys with now, is like Kinetic, Saba, JPOW. People just drop in and want to watch, and that's actually been super helpful for me improving.
I don't think it's a limit of not allowing you to drop in. It's just if you drop in, don't just start chatting and while they're trying to focus, I think is the key point.
Please don't ask me what I had for dinner.
I mean, the other thing.
How's the weather?
The other thing Danny can
Don't
do
ask
is
what you're wearing.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
But the other thing Danny can do is set up a channel or two that has 5 maximum, right? So if you're doing something that's like you're doing like a 20 or something stupid crazy like that, right? You can go in there and nobody else is going to be able to get in except for you.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Good times. Meeting adjourned.